Greetings everybody, and welcome back to Ascension Arc, the show where you guys get to decide one of many unbuilt characters on my account, and I will spend roughly a month's worth of time constructing, building, and playing said character before moving on to the next. And to no one's surprise, the Dendro crew has come in once again because for some reason, you guys are addicted to Dendro characters, and this month we will be building Alhaitham. Alhaitham is a very, I will say, unique character in the fact that he wants to build up his passive stacks in order to enhance his normal attacks by creating mirrors? I don't know why they're called mirrors, they look like leaves, but who really cares? He is quite a good on-field character, actually, and I don't really have a Dendro on-field other than Kinich, and Kinich is kind of locked into burning, so it is kind of nice to be building another one. Now, as you may guess, as with most of these, the pre-build is kind of bad. We are sitting at an F rating. No one should really be surprised at this because I haven't built him at all, but we are attempting to get that build up to an A or a high B if possible. 36% is not entirely awful to start at, but a lot of things will just come with time. Now, for Alhaitham skills, this is where it's going to get a little bit complicated. Now, Alhaitham here has a pretty overloaded kit, so do try to stay with me while I try to explain this in a way that a 5-year-old can understand. Basically speaking, whenever you use Alhaitham's skill, you generate 2 chisel light mirrors, and he can hold up to 3 at one time. Depending on the amount of chiseled mirrors you currently have active, he deals more or less dendro damage. So, whenever he launches a certain attack at enemies, he will consume one of the mirrors, which will create either a rainstorm of bullets, a little swirly boomerang, or just a big hit, depending on how many you have out. Alhaitham's main way of playing is to ensure that you stay on 3 mirrors as long as possible in order to do the most amount of damage and dendro applications. His skill rushes forward and simply gives him a mirror, so it's not something super exciting, but you can aim it similarly to how you can aim Keqing's skill, which I guess is neat. His burst, on the other hand, creates a somewhat large AoE zone that quickly deals damage, and after 2 seconds, he creates mirrors based on how many mirrors he is missing. So if he has 0 mirrors active, he'll create 3. If he has 3 mirrors active, he'll create 0. Basically, you are using that to instantly get up to 3 mirrors once your mirrors run out, or to maintain mirrors if your skill is ready. His combos are going to be absolutely whack, and I'm going to miss them a lot. Don't worry about it. In terms of his passives, his first Ascension passive gives him a mirror whenever he attacks with a charged attack, and it can occur once every 12 seconds, so it's essentially just a free mirror. His second Ascension passive is actually quite important, because for each point of elemental mastery, he will increase the damage of his projection attacks and the burst by 0.1%, and the maximum damage for both of these is 100%. This means with 1,000 elemental mastery, Alhaitham will be hitting like a goddamn truck with those 2 things specifically. This is similar to Tignari's passive, although slightly better, because you can still build a lot of just damaging stats on Alhaitham and still get a lot of value from your teammates buffing your elemental mastery. It's actually kind of nice. His utility passive is fairly good too. It's the craft upgrade thing that I believe Sucrose also has. It's pretty neat. In terms of weapon choices, Alhaitham actually has quite a few he can choose from, being the first character on this show with 3 best-in-slot weapons. Yeah, that might sound weird, but hear me out here. His own weapon, of course, the lofi, is the uncontested best weapon. I don't think anyone can really question this because it does everything Alhaitham wants to do, and if you happen to have this weapon, feel free to use it. It is the best option. However, the Primordial Jade Cutter, and I cannot remember what Shiori's weapon is called, but it is certainly a weapon, are actually on par in certain situations. If you have a Geo character on your team for some reason in a Dendro team, Shiori's weapon is actually the best weapon he can use, and it is not even close. It is ridiculous the amount of just benefits that thing gives him. However, that does require you to play a Geo unit in your team, which you can do. There's like Zhongli you could play, potentially, but I digress. And the Jade Cutter is one of the best weapons for AoE situations. That's as easy as it is. Any one of these 3 weapons will be the best in slot depending on your team, so go wild with it, honestly. For optimal weapons, you have the Mist Splitter, of course, because the Mist Splitter is absolutely crazy as well, being able to basically sustain full stacks all the time. The best 4-star weapon is the Wolf Fang. If you happen to have the Battle Pass, that thing is pretty darn good. And if you don't, you have the Iron Sting as a craftable, or you have the Event Umbrella weapon that I never remember the name of because it is weird. Stat sticks, you have Farina's weapon and Cloran's weapon. They're just crit damage stat sticks. You can use them. Sometimes you can, like with Farina's weapon, you can kind of fulfill the use for it. If you have someone that drains HP, it's fine. Situationally, you have Syphos' Moonlight, Black Sword, Favonia's Sword, and the Freedom Sword if you happen to have them. They have their use cases, but I'd just go with Iron Sting at that point. It is much easier. As for teams, when it comes down to Dendro characters, you have an absolute butt-ton of options as always. We will be playing a Hyper Bloom team today because we haven't really had the chance to do that with our Dendro characters, so I figured now is as good of a time as any. I'd also like to feature Llama in at least one team, considering she was recently released, so I figured this is going to be the one. Alhaitham is going to be our on-field damage dealer, and not really a driver per se, but he does have a lot of Dendro applications, so we'll be helping out a lot. We will be running Yelan alongside him as our Hydro applicator. Yelan is going to be wielding the Elegy of the End, because that is going to give more Elemental Mastery to Alhaitham, which we just went over is really good for him. For our activator, we are going to be running Kuki Shinobu because we need a healer in this team, and her activation is still really good in terms of Hyper Bloom teams, so she is going to be a very welcome sight. And of course, as our last slot, we are going to be playing Llama. Llama enables our Hyper Blooms to crit, which is fucking hilarious, to be honest. Her off-field Dendro application is great, and because I also happen to have her signature weapon, she too will be giving up bonuses to the party to increase the bloom damage, and that is really good. Obviously though, Alhaitham being a main on-field Dendro character has a ton of other team options, some of which you can see here, so if you want some ideas, just pick and choose any and try them all, see what happens. What could possibly go wrong? Now then, on with the show. We have to look over my current Alhaitham because he isn't really built at all. Level 50 is where my Alhaitham currently sits, and we will be aiming for 90 on Alhaitham, given that this is a Hyper Bloom team and the Dendro reaction is very finicky when it comes to levels. We will be running the Wolf Fang that I happen to have a refinement, 2 of which we will also be upgrading to 90 through the course of this Ascension Arc, because this weapon is just really good. Artifact-wise, I do have a couple of pieces on Alhaitham already. We will be running Gilded Dreams. I happen to have this Elemental Mastery piece, which is not half awful. I have another one too that is crit rate and attack percent, so they are basically the same. This one just happens to have any reach and flat attack, so I am banking on this one slightly more. We have the Honeyed Final Feast, which is my best Dendro Goblet on the account that happens to be on set, so I will be stealing this because I do that on almost every episode. Goblets are chunky, man. I happen to have this upgraded crit damage circlet with Elemental Mastery and crit rate on it that we will also be stealing because I had no one else that was actually using this, and I figured, hey, we may as well. If we get something better, we'll change it. We have this flower that is unleveled, which is some crit rate and nothing more. We're hoping to get a better one here. And we have absolutely no feather whatsoever. We still need to work on that. Constellation-wise, he is C0. Talents-wise, he is unleveled. But for the most part, the only one that actually matters, I think, is this one, because this controls his mirror damage, unless I'm mistaken. Yes, it does. So his skill is most important. On top of that, of course, we need to level him up to 90, which I think is the first thing we are going to do because it is going to be required. We're going to sink some into our talents here because I actually happen to have a few of these left over from doing other things. Because again, this is a Sumeru character, and Sumeru characters barely, if ever, get anything. We'll keep his normal attack at probably level 2 for now. I don't think we're going to need it. As I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think he has the overriding thing, which I doesn't actually, but we don't really care about his normal attack damage, I suppose. Neat. Anyway, let's proceed with what we need to do today. So, I think we are just going to head over to Alhaitham's boss and do that with the resin we have today. I have also pre-farmed, I should say, some of the Sandgrease Poopas, because these things suck, and they're very annoying to farm. We need to kill the Wennet. I think this might be the only time I've actually fought the Wennet ever, because is there any other boss or any other character in the game that uses the Wennet? I think it's just Alhaitham, right? It's the same thing as Kirara using that weird mage boss in the desert for some reason. But I don't understand why. It is funny. Oh, I have Farina right now. I was testing out Farina in this team also, because Farina works really well in this. However, I will be sticking with Yelan, even though my Yelan is not as well built as Farina. I just think Yelan is going to do way better. I also need to get... Oh, she has the Elegy. Great. She needs more energy recharge. I'm kind of sad about my Yelan, to be honest. I wish I had more. Oh, well. One day, I'll do it. One day. Anyway. We're just gonna jump straight down to the Wennet, and I actually think we're gonna attempt to fight this thing as we are. Let's get Llama in there. Let's... Oh, Yelan doesn't have any energy on her. That's gonna suck. It's fine. We're gonna do this. We're gonna activate. We're going to click buttons. I forgot that the when it does this weird air thing where I can't hit him anyway. This is gonna take forever because I screwed it up. Let's do this. Let's try and get some energy on Yelan really quickly. Bring the big girl back. Do this. Let's burst with Alhaitham. And now in 2 seconds time, we'll get all of our stacks back. So basically you want to keep him at 3 stacks as much as you can. So now that we go down to a charged attack here, we're going to skill. That's going to bring us back up to 3. And we're going to get this weird like Dendro Rain is really what we want to be doing. I'm really bad at doing the combo because I'm stupid. But now that we actually have all of our energy back, let's wait for him to come back up, and we're gonna Hyper Bloom a little bit. Alright, can you give me an attack? There you go, thank you. Okay, we will activate this. We will burst with Yelan. We will miss. God, I hate the one. Just let me do the thing. There, we'll do that. He will fuck off again. There we go. Yeah, you have to trigger slow reactions for some reason, but like, it works. Hyper Bloom does a lot of damage. As long as we have Dendro application, it kind of works out. That's the main thing. Like, Alhaitham is technically just bonus damage in this team, because most of the time, the Hyper Blooms are what's going to be actually hurting the boss. And that's kind of nice, because you can very easily do this. And to the time where we don't have Yelan active, because this guy refuses to be on field for longer than 2 seconds, you know, we can just aggravate. Aggravate also does damage. It's fine. Can he just fall over? I actually hate this guy. He's so annoying. Just die. The fact that he doesn't let me be on field to do anything is so bad. But yeah, we're gonna kill him a bunch of times, and we're just gonna get all the level up materials that we're gonna need, and see where that gets us. I mean, hey, Alhaitham stayed alive that time. That's nice. That's a funny electro damage combo, actually. I'm keeping that. Who knows who might be able to use that? But great attack elemental mastery is kind of cool. Alright, another pull up. 3 more. Not exactly what I wanted to see, but hey. Man, when you actually get to set up and use Alhaitham the way he's intended to, he actually deals damage. Who could have guessed? Anyways, we got ourselves another pull here. We've got, not exactly great, I guess, but it is what it is. Like, goddamn, when you actually get to do the combo correctly, like, this team is actually really cool. Unfortunately, I don't get to do that very often because I still don't know how to use it, but it is there. 2 chunks. Okay. Mother, that's bad, and a bunch of other things, but hey, I'll take it. That is all of the resin used for today, though. So what we're going to do very quickly is that apparently I need to make a couple of these because I am out of everything on this account. I am very poor. Please support me by becoming a YouTube member because my god, these shows are expensive. Regardless, let us ascend Alhaitham up to level 60. Do we even have XP books? We barely do. I guess it's fine. We can do that. We do need 3 chunks, which we can craft 5 of. We are fine. We can also convert some chunks, I'm pretty sure, because we just got the Animo chunkies. Yes, we did. Let's just convert those 2. I go through a lot of Dust of Asenoth on this account, in case you couldn't tell. But hey, it's good to have. Anyway, now that we do that, we're going to get the second Ascension passive, which is very nice. Mysteries laid bare. Unfortunately, we don't have enough XP books to really do anything, but I will farm those once available, of course. We get a free wish as well, so we may as well do it, because why not, honestly? Let's do a standard wish. Let's see what we get. Absolutely nothing. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's quickly look at how many we got, actually. Oops, that is not the button I want to press. I want to press this. We are not going to be able to do this. We still need a ton of them. We need, what, 32? Yeah, we're gonna need to farm a little bit. As you can see, I have actually pre-farmed the 6 gemstones, so we don't have to worry about them too much. But we still need the 6 chunks here and the rest of all this crud. This is gonna take a couple of days, but I'll farm XP books off screen, and we'll be back when I have everything needed to ascend, unless something really interesting happens, I guess. It's now a couple of days later from the last little snippet, and we are once again in a new patch, and we are currently in the Nefer patch, and unfortunately I will not be picking Nefer up. However, I was going for Farina's weapon, but the keen-eyed of you would have seen that once again I've lost a weapon 50-50, and I got Nefer's. I know a lot of you are probably looking to get this. I don't have a use for this at all. Like, even remotely. I have Nahidas already. I have llamas. This is a waste. So I gave it to Yanfei. Yanfei gets to enjoy it now, I guess. Regardless of that, though, this is Alhaitham's video. So, with a little bit more farming off screen, we now have everything required to ascend Alhaitham once more to the maximum ascension level. Unfortunately, we barely don't have enough to actually get him there, but we are going to level him to 88. I'm going to run out and do one. I think I have one enemy, right? I got one in me. Yeah, okay. I'll do one more and see if that's enough to bring him to 90. I will still say I'm not entirely used to Alhaitham's playstyle yet, given the fact that you really have to go around with the, you really have to work out with the mirrors and stuff, but I've gotten slightly better at it. I'm kind of understanding how to actually set them up. It's also really awkward to me that you actually have to weave in charged attacks with a character. That rarely, if ever, happens in this game, and the fact that Alhaitham requires you to do it is actually kind of nice. Unfortunately, we did not have enough to actually bring him up any further, but it is what it is. I'll be, once again, cutting out until we get some more stuff to do. However, because he is now max ascended, we actually have access to level a couple of things up. That's what we wanted to do. We can craft a lot of Guide to Ingenuity, which is what we are going to do. We want to max most of his, oh, not max most of his talent, sorry. We want to max the skill talent, and I am going to be trying to bring it to level 10. Because we really need it. Also, the mannequin is now a character, which is interesting. I'm going to see if I can bring Alhaitham's skill up a couple of levels at the very least. We'll bring it up to 4. We'll bring it up to 5. We'll bring it up to 6, baby. And now we are going to have to start getting the Mirrors of Motion, which I luckily already have 4 of. Again, sometimes luck just strikes with the things that you need, because a majority of the time I am not that lucky. We are going to be crafting up a couple more of these. And then crafting up a couple more of these. Thankfully, almost no character I play actually. Wow, 5 and 20 there. Jesus, Sucrose. Most of the things, again, I don't play a lot of Sumeru characters, so this is all fine. Level 7, level 8. I don't have enough more to bring it up to level 9, but it is awfully close. But that is at the very least something. We are getting there, and that's all that matters. We will be bringing this up to 10. We'll be trying to get his burst up to 8, and I think his normal attack is useless, pretty much. So we'll probably be leaving that at like 6 or lower, depending. I'll look it up. I'm not entirely sure how worth it Alhaitham's attack is, but we'll see.
We are back again a couple of days later, and I've done every preparation work that needs to be done. Alhaitham is now level 90. It took maybe 2 days or so to get the last couple of XP books, and then we're fine. I also decided to level up the Wolffang off screen. All I had to do was beat a domain once, and we had enough to do it. So now our weapon is also complete. The last thing we need to do before heading on to the artifacts is that we need to bring his skill up to level 10. That is the goal. However, we have a problem with this, given that we only have 2 Mirrors of Motion left, so we're going to bring it up to 9 at the very least, then do the boss and hopefully get what we need in order to get it to 10, then work with the burst up to at least level 6, probably higher if we can. That is why we're in the talent domain today. I will say, after having played this team a little while now, this team is actually kind of cool. Like, don't get me wrong here, I still need practice with it, but I really like what this team is capable of doing, because it just does so many reactions, surprisingly. And, yeah, that took like 2 seconds. But yeah, I know that says clear time 2 minutes, but that's because I was talking. That took literally no time at all. It's kind of insane. Compare that to Tignari's team that actually had to sit here and, you know, do this for a little while. I don't have to do that at all here. I just jump in and everything kind of explodes. Then again, I will say Tignari's was a complete free-to-play team, which this one clearly is not. This one is a somewhat premium team, I suppose, because we have so many things that can just do that. 20 seconds. Honestly, the quickest video of all time. It's almost like this team is like really good or something. Holy moly. Okay, it is hard to see what Alhaitham's damage actually is when you're doing this team, because there's so much going on. There's so many random droplets. There's llamas, deer going on. There's just numbers everywhere. Well, unfortunately, we do not have nearly enough to craft up to this, so we will instead give the burst a couple of levels, because we do need to bring that up also. We may as well stabilize that. We can craft ourselves another one to bring it up to level 5, which I guess we will do, so give me a second. Alright, and with the crafting, we get the last one we can do for today, which is the burst up to level 5. I think we're going to try and bring the burst to 8. I think 8 is like a good enough stopping point if we can get there, honestly. But that is everything we are capable of doing for today. I am getting a cold, so I sound like, you know, my nose has been clogged for 15 days, which it basically has. I really want to get this going eventually, because, but, oh well. Well, we'll come back tomorrow. We'll do some more artifact. Artifact? What am I talking about? Talent domains. I'm getting silly. Alright then. This is a couple of days later once again, and we're just doing a quick Alhaitham check-in, because after about 3-ish days of farming talent materials, we can now bring the skill up to level 9. Only 1 level left to go here, and we're gonna need 2 of these, which thankfully we have. And we can also bring the burst up to level 6. Unfortunately, I think this is where we're going to have to stop the burst, because we're only going to have access to 2 more mirrors, possibly 4 if we're extremely lucky. And I would rather max out the skill for Alhaitham than anything else, because we are running out of these things. These things are just really hard to come by, apparently, because every single time I do this boss, I get these other 2, and I don't get any dream solvents. So I am going to spend 2 dream solvents on 2 of these to prepare, just so when we actually have it available. I know that it kind of sucks having to go with 10, 6, and 2, but look, if we get lucky, I will upgrade the burst more as well, but the burst isn't necessarily that important. The important part about it is the skill, because the skill is what actually deals damage. We'll max this piece out and use it. Oh, I guess we won't max this piece out then. Well, just make me a liar, video game, why don't you? We do have another one here that we could potentially use that has slightly worse substats, sadly, and then there is another one here that has essentially the same stuff. So, I don't know, I don't really like this roll at all, honestly. I'm gonna do something illegal, alright? All of these, actually these 2 are elemental masterpieces. This one we ignore. This one here I feel could be better than this one, because the other one rolled terribly. I know throwing away an elemental masterpiece is going to have people crucify me, and it's okay, honestly. I get crucified on a daily basis by the comment section. It rolled exactly the same as the other one. This one has a higher crit rate, though, to be fair, and a higher attack percent than the other one did, so this one's better, just by default. But yeah, no, the headpiece is also maxed with 14% crit on it. I kind of like this one. You know, kind of, as it's really freaking good. But we're keeping that. I still have not found a feather in the little farming that I've done, but I'm sure we'll get there. The flower also isn't leveled. I'm hoping to get a better one before I start doing that. But and we are back once again after almost a week, actually. This week has been absolutely hectic for me, so I've done way less than I have actually wanted to do, but it's whatever. We are finally ready to crown Alhaitham's skill. I think this is the best possible thing we can do. The scaling on this is insanity. Let's crown that up. Man, that feels good. So the last thing to do with Alhaitham is actually just to go on an artifact hunt, honestly. Luckily for us, the Stygian is back, meaning we can actually abuse that a little bit to try and get more artifacts than what we are normally capable of. Something else to note, even though I didn't actually record it, is that I now finally have C2 Ayato thanks to the event that was ongoing, and that is awesome. And more awesome than anything, I finally got Farina's stupid stick. I have been trying to get this damn thing 3 times. Not that I need it, but I just wanted to have it, and I got it on Pity 33 after losing to Nefer. Finally! Anyway, let's go hunt some artifacts, shall we? I will say, it is a bit nice that the Stygian seems to change its appearance every time, because right now it's like a flower? Not really sure what that's about, but hey, it's there. Unfortunately for us, though, there's not really any boss that is super good for us to just farm. I'm gonna pick the weird revival guy, though, because I feel like that one is probably the easiest. Let's just grab our team really quick and see what we can get, I suppose. Is this motherfucker Dendroimmune now? Well, never mind. I guess this isn't really a good one to do it with, then, if they could just randomly change immunities. That's annoying. Well, that was stupid. Let's not do that boss again. That boss sucks. Anyways, we have 4 condensed resin to quickly spend. Oh my god, okay. That... It's only crit rate. If that was crit damage, I might have considered this one. I'll keep it for the time being. That one's bad. Oh yeah, an attack percent crit damage thing, but I already have an elemental masterpiece. I don't need that. Other than that, that's pretty good. Anyways, let's do this again. Okay, attack goblet, don't really care. That is a very cool flower for a character I don't know. That's a less cool attack sands, and crit damage and energy recharge is not that good. If it was elemental mastery, I might have done it. Man, when everything actually pops off, this is insane amounts of random damage. I love it so much. Like, it's hard to set up in the Stygian because, you know, you need to get your bursts first. But when you have bursts on a steady rotation, this is awesome. Those are all bad, though. Anyway, let's grab one more here. We got a bonus. It's geo damage on the Dendro set. Sure. Healing bonus with crit. I don't think there's a single healing one for them. I'll get rid of that, even though it is a very cool. This is not great for us either, and that is not great for us either. All right. Sometimes it is what it is. Let's go and do a quick scam box as well today, because you know what? I feel like we should. And bada bing, bada bop. That feather isn't awful. Attack, crit damage, elemental mastery. I might actually roll that. HP isn't great, attack isn't great, and HP is not great. We'll roll again. Ooh, double crit energy recharge. I think the one we have is already very good though, but we'll have a look. I did do some rolls on these as well, I should mention. This one isn't looking all too great, but we'll roll this one to 20 first because EM has very good scaling and hope for crit. Nice! Double crit rate roll and attack roll is not actually that bad. I think we will keep that. Our flower is looking unleveled. Actually then. Yeah, this has elemental mastery on it, to be fair, and so does this one, but this one has double crit. That is not awful at all. And the feather, crit elemental mastery. Elemental mastery attack crit damage on that one too. What is our crit rate looking like, actually? We are on 61%. I'm kind of okay with rocking this one for now, unless I feel like we absolutely need to make a change. But for now, that's fine. Activate crit damage. There are 3 actually really good stats on this piece. If we can roll anything that isn't defense, I think I'm happy. I shouldn't have said anything. If it rolls one more into defense, we will call it quits. EM is actually very good. I don't mind that at all. Can we get some crit damage? We can get some attack percent. One roll into crit damage also? Yeah, of course it is. It's one of these. I mean, it isn't what I'd like, but it isn't awful. Let's roll the double crit flower as well. Maybe the double crit flower can compensate a bit. Energy recharge isn't necessarily a terrible stat, but it's not really what we want. Crit rate is very good, and unfortunately I believe that is it for now. Oh man. Now, like, I'm good with that for now. It isn't the best feather in the world, because obviously it rolled a bit scuffed. But it is what it is. 1, 1, 1, 1. At least 3 of the rolls are beneficial in some way, even if they aren't great. I'll take it. We aren't looking terrible as of right now. But yeah, that's it for today. We'll be back here in a couple more days and see how the build's going. This video took a little bit longer to record than I thought it would. This isn't necessarily the problem of Alhaitham, but we both had technical issues, and I have officially started work as of this recording. So, time got weird when you suddenly don't have 12 hours a day when you can kind of do whatever you want. I have, however, logged in every day on this account for the past 7 days, which technically now means Alhaitham has actually had 29 days of progress instead of the usual 3 weeks. But honestly, I don't really care. I have, however, failed a recording that I did just a couple of moments earlier that didn't have any audio for whatever reason. So, I am just gonna have to recap what we finished. In the artifact front, he officially has a set completed now. The flower is absolutely awesome with 3 rolls into crit damage and unfortunately 1 roll into HP, but what can you really do? We have the headpiece, which is a crit damage, elemental mastery, crit rate headpiece, which is actually pretty good. 3 rolls into crit rate, sadly nothing into elemental mastery, and we missed 2 into HP, but 3 rolls into crit rate is not something to scoff at, so we are keeping this anyway. We then have the goblet that I stole from one of my other characters, a Denjo damage bonus with 1 into energy recharge and 3 into crit damage, which is very nice. We then have an elemental mastery sands with 1 roll into HP, 2 into crit rate, and 1 into attack percent, which is honestly pretty decent. And lastly, we have an offset feather that I got while farming for the sets that rolled 3 times into crit rate. I think this is perfectly acceptable, and unfortunately, I don't really have another double crit feather to roll, so we're just gonna live with what he has. His final stats is going to be 76.5 to 172. It's not ridiculously outstanding or anything, but I think this is perfectly serviceable. He also has 354 elemental mastery, which I think is good for Alhaitham, not entirely sure. We obviously have the refinement to Wolf Fang at level 90. We also have Alhaitham himself at level 90, and his talents are 2, 10 to 6. We're gonna do something strange today, because we don't normally go into the Spiral Abyss with most of our teams, because they're kinda just built for fun. This team, however, is actually competitively viable, I dare say. So we're gonna throw it into the Spiral Abyss before it actually rotates out, because I am genuinely very curious to see if we can get a 36-star clear using this team. We probably can if I try really hard. I don't know, it's gonna be fun. I mean, these ones might not be the best for what we are doing, but honestly, I kind of have high hopes for this. I just want to see if we can do it, realistically. I don't really know why I'm trying to do it like this, or why I'm not using a controller, because normally when I play in Spiral Abysses, I use a controller, because I am just way better at doing that than using this. But honestly, like, we are dealing a very decent chunk of damage here. Sadly, we're kind of running away from the orbs a little bit, but I mean, I also fucked up a little bit there. That is whatever. We got our burst up. We're gonna burst with everything. I still need to get better at actually doing the rotations with this team, because I am not on point with them, I'm gonna be honest. I am fucking them up like it's nobody's business, really, but realistically speaking, we're still dueling a lot. Was that a 90k came from the explosion? Oops. That, like, a minute clear is not bad. That's, like, really decent. Also, I'm playing the Ayato team on the second half, but I'll skip everything in this team because it's not important for this video. Plenty of time to spare on that run. I think we were, like, 40 seconds above what we needed to be. That's awesome. Second half, more attack percent. It is really looking like it likes that this week. I know that this is the stupid robot thing, and I actually despise this guy with all of my heart, so we're just gonna try and deal some dinky damage to him while we still can. We also really don't want to chunk any of these, because eventually he is going to start chunking our bursts, which we desperately need for this, but whatever. I hate this guy. This guy is frankly quite irritating, but luckily when you drop him down low, you get all of your bursts back, so we should be able to kill him on this rotation. Took a little bit too long, sadly, but it is what it is. I missed. Oh no, Alhaitham, no. Why'd you miss that, buddy? You were standing next to him and everything. Okay, that was a fairly slow clear of that floor, honestly, but it's what it is. I hate this particular floor of the Spiral Abyss. It sucks so bad because it's these guys. These guys are the worst. Sadly, only 2 stars on that floor, but the main reason for that is this Ayato team struggles ridiculously hard with those freaking Juggernaut enemies.
because it's not meant to deal damage like that. I had to pull in my Skirk team when I 3-starred this originally, so I'm not gonna be too mad about it. It's just, you have to adapt, that's all it is, and unfortunately, Ayato doesn't do well on that fight. We'll go to Chamber 3. I can't even talk. I mean, okay, 80 Elemental Mastery is nice at least. And it's crab time. I actually really enjoy the stupid crab for whatever reason. I think this boss is kind of fun. The problem with it is that we have to deal bloom damage to these things, which, to be fair, isn't that bad, but it is still very annoying. No, piss off! Come on! Again? That's the second time he's been up there on a goddamn sliver. Yeah, come on, spit your things out. Come on. Show me your moves. There you go. Bingo. Get the hell out of here. Now we're doing this properly this time. Finally, I gotta submit it. Jesus. I did so many attempts of that just to get sub 1 minute because I really wanted it. I was 1 minute sharp, to be fair, but like that's fine by me. Holy. 30 seconds to spare. 3-starring floor 12 was rather easy. Obviously, we did not 4-star floor 11, but I blame that on the very specific annoying enemy that they have in there. But honestly, as far as the Alhaitham team goes with Llama and everything when you are at what is essentially, I would say, full power Alhaitham. I don't think if there is a better team. Maybe with Nahida. I'm not entirely sure. This guy kicks ass. that's all I got. Let's wrap this episode up finally. And with that, Alhaitham has officially completed his Ascension Arc. I'm honestly positively surprised about Alhaitham because I thought he was just a silly little guy who runs into normal attack stuff, but he's actually really fun. I'm happily surprised by a lot of characters that you guys in the community have voted for so far, because realistically speaking, I wouldn't have gotten or played half of these characters otherwise. It's been really good. But let's talk the actual Ascension Arc here for a second. With our pre-build ending up on a score of 36%, as we kind of expected because there wasn't anything built, our ending score for Alhaitham is 81% with a total score of B. We are losing a fair bit here on the artifact score because we are missing quite a few substat rolls. While Alhaitham absolutely adores crit just like any on-fielder would, he does have a lot of elemental mastery needs as well as attack percent and sometimes energy recharge. I felt energy recharge was fine. I mostly fucked up every single rotation because I'm really bad at playing him. But I felt it was okay when you had a second Dendro like Llama in your team. I'm pretty sure Nahida would work just the same. We are also losing out a couple of points here on the talents. Normally you would level Alhaitham to 8, 10, 8, but I did not feel like pumping the resources into him right now. I easily could, which would most likely bring Alhaitham up to be another 8 tier, which is awesome. I think he did great. I mean, we managed to clear the Spiral Abyss on the final floor using his team, even though, yes, we missed one, but that's not Alhaitham's team's fault. Yada, yada. I actually think this was great fun. I enjoyed Alhaitham a lot, surprisingly. With that in mind, though, we are, as always, going to do the pros and cons, because, honestly, if anyone deserves it here, it's probably Alhaitham. Let's start off with the good stuff. Alhaitham is insanely fun to play. I don't think I've seen a character as uniquely built as Alhaitham is in a while. just because of his mirror mechanic. This is a character that actually requires you to think for a second before you start waddling your mouse around like a crazy gunman, and if you play it correctly, you deal a significant amount more damage than you would have done if you don't. It's one of the very few characters in this game where I've actually had to think about my rotations, and that's really, really good, because it's just fun. His effects are also incredibly flashy, his animations are great. I like him a lot. Secondly, and I guess more surprisingly, Alhaitham is still meta-relevant to this day. Yes, don't get me wrong, we were able to clear the Spiral Abyss mostly because of Llama's passives, but you could pick up Alhaitham in nearly any Spiral Abyss alongside his team, and he can probably 36 clear it, let's be honest here. My team might not be that great, because again, I'm not really built to make this team, but it's still really, really... Like, if you are an Alhaitham player, I fully understand you now, because this guy kicks ass. He is Dendro, of course. Team building with Dendro has always been easy, and you have a ton of variety, both in free-to-play and pay-to-play teams, so there is no negatives here. I will also say that because he is using the, whatever set that shares with the Dendro set, he's incredibly cost-effective to build. If you want a character where you are not wasting any resin whatsoever to build a team, this is your guy. You just go into the domain that has the Dendro set that you also need anyway, and you are basically set. He also does have one craftable weapon option, and I will include this as a benefit here, because a lot of 5-star characters that is released nowadays really don't. So, it's nice that he has at least one. Also, we have to point this out that this guy makes fun of Kaveh on a regular basis, and that is worth a gold star in my book. Let's talk some of the negatives, though, because he does have a few. First of all, his playstyle is difficult. I'm not gonna hold this against anyone if you get confused over what the hell you're doing and when to do certain things, because this guy really needs you to stick to a proper rotation to deal the maximum amount of damage, and for most players, including myself, this gets messy when there is about 3,000 flashing effects on the screen. I get lost in his combo all the time. I have special problems using mouse and keyboard, but that's mostly a me issue because I'm used to playing with controller. Controller is slightly better, but still not great. I will also say that his 5-star weapon options outshine 4-star by a country mile. It is not even close. Wolfang is a fairly decent weapon on him, don't get me wrong. This thing will suffice for everything that I'm planning to do with him. But if you happen to have one of the 5-star weapons that he can use, I would highly suggest you do so because it is just way freaking better. And the one thing I've noticed playing Alhaitham for a bit is that he's a bit janky with the mirrors. His charged attack is probably the worst thing that I've experienced, because it is just a basic sword charged attack. There's nothing really funky with it. But the mirror integration with his charged attack is just really wacky. It kind of feels like it does whatever it wants half the time, even though it's probably still my fault. But it's just kind of odd. But honestly, no. I had a ton of fun with Alhaitham, and I will probably keep playing him, actually. Which is why, on this episode of Ascension Arc, I'm introducing a slightly new segment, which is just a tier list, because I am a lazy, lazy man. On the screen now, you'll see a tier list of every character we have done on Ascension Arc so far, and the only thing I'm really interested in rating is whether or not I will keep playing the character. Because to me, that's the most important part about this video series. It's really just to give every character a solid try to see if they are actually worth playing or not. In my opinion, Alhaitham is ending up in the top tier, which is will play actively. I actually really like Alhaitham's playstyle. It's fun to play something that is slightly more difficult than ram your face into the screen a couple of times every day. And he's just fun. He goes in the same tier as Ayato for me, because Ayato is also one of those characters that I just started maining because I absolutely love his playstyle and just the general style, I guess. It's great. Will play regularly is the tier after that, where I have put both Tignari and Farazan, because I do actually pick them up every now and again and kind of play with them. It's fun. They have their uses. Might play sometimes are characters that I might slot into teams whenever the opportunity kind of arises, I suppose, where both Kale and Emily right now reside. We then have most likely won't play, which are characters that I might pick up if there's a niche use for them, and I feel like I might pick them up to do that for a while and then put them back on the bench. The last tier is benched, which are characters that I am definitely not returning to for whatever reasons. Might be that I don't like them, or they didn't get built well, who knows. And then there's Kaveh. Kaveh gets to sit in his own box, where he belongs.
But now we have to move on because the vote for the next Ascension Arc has finished, and with an astounding 858 normal user votes, as well as the supporters, which, by the way, if you want more votes for this, you can become a YouTube supporter and get more votes, haha. We have our winner for the next episode, which is Candice. Candice is a strange one, but I do have C6 Candice on this account, so I guess we will have to experiment with that. It should also be noted that the Mystery Electro option, which actually finished in second place, was Sarah Raiden's #1 fangirl. Look, I'm a bit tired, can you tell? Anyways, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and tune in next time where we give Candice the chance she deserves.